Logic Pro users, I'm happy to announce this day has finally arrived. Starting today, stem rendering won't be as tedious and boring as it used to be, and for this very reason, I have a simple, modern, and incredibly affordable solution for you, and that's the EasyBounce application. So let's take a quick look. First, the onboarding process opens up and it clearly shows us exactly what we need to do. So over here, we have a button called Scan Logic. You'll need to press it each and every time before you proceed to render your stems. Right here, we'll have all of your stems generated, and from these very stems, you'll then be able to construct either a queue or different versions and so forth. Then we click Key and we click Next. The final button is Bounce. Here you configure the WAV or MP3 format you wish to render, and then you simply press Let's Go. The application will then open, and first I suggest we scan through our logic and take a look at what interesting things we have there. Keep your hands clear and ideally don't click anything during the scan. It analyzes everything, determining what to do and applying various filters to understand how to structure it within the EasyBounce app. So it has scanned all the tracks, right? And we can see all the subgroups that I have here, right? If you don't need to see the side to kick, all drums and bass group or the low control group, you can simply hide them all, and then in the hidden section you'll find all the tracks you don't need. So how does the app work? It's actually quite simple. Let me show you the track that's playing for me right from the very beginning. Let's imagine I want to render it right now. Okay, what exactly do I need? I need the full version to start with, don't I? Kupcher, you already have presets that you can either edit or you can simply add them just like this, you see? And all of the tracks are added immediately, all of them. If, for example, we're talking about guitars, right? We can render them together with a side chain from the kick drum, can't we? So over here, I select, for instance, an ARCS input, and then I look for the kick. And so my side kick serves as my side. Just imagine we're rendering a guitar, and all we need to do is press a button, select the format, and check if all we need is here, right? If, for example, you don't like how things are set up here, you can click Set in Logic. The bounce window will open. You can set up everything here exactly as you need it. Then you just hit Cancel, and you'll return to the application. Everything is already set up for you, just like in Logic. Next, all we have to do is press Bounce, and it will bounce everything for us. We can hide the menu, and as you can see, my hands are free, and we're just waiting for it all to render. As you can see, it applies all the necessary naming right. If it's a full track, then it labels it as a full track. If, for instance, these are guitars, it will identify them as only guitars. My hands are still here, see? I'm not clicking anything. And the folder immediately opens and the notification pops up saying, everything is ready and let's listen. Everything is working, everything is rendering. You have the option to select individual bus channels and then add them directly here into the stems, or simply drag and drop them. It truly makes no difference. Furthermore, should you require, for instance, to render the entirety of the old drums group, you simply click on the main subfolder and the system will automatically render it for you. What this means is you simply drag the entire subfolder into place, and then all your stems are absolutely ready to be used right here. You also have the ability to enable various filtering options. For instance, if you're working with AUX pluses, just like I often do, you can simply choose to disable all instruments and audio tracks. If you're working the other way around just with instruments, you can only include the instruments or the audio. So this is all very convenient if you need to hide everything with a single click or reveal everything with just one click. You simply press Option, right? And then you close everything. Next, for instance, if you don't need to drag all of the guitars and if you only need to render just these 3 guitars as one, right? Then we write, for example, melody guitar, and add it to the queue, and it will be added as a melodic guitar and this guitar, so to speak. I need you to read the G. Excuse me, I'm typing quite fast. You can simply save, your template, and that's all, and it automatically gets added. So When it comes to the naming, everything is made as convenient as possible. If you happen to need to add, for example, a specific version, right, without the bass guitar or perhaps without the drums, right, we then choose the version, right, and it automatically selects all drums for us. We click Add to Queue. But just before that, you really need to click on the preset first. You can add your own naming presets. Yes, add to queue though, and then all of our drums are turned off. You can create your own drum preset template. Select all drums, presets, all drums. Then you add it to the queue, Doresh, diets. So alright, so now you have all the drums available within the temporary sets. In the same way, we also have various sets. For instance, you've included a version that's completely without guitars and without a key S, without any physical keys. You simply add this directly into your queue. You just hit save set, and then you can trigger it exactly when you require. For instance, I've already got blah blah typed out like Warner, and now you will always write, we clear everything from here, press Warner, and see that all of this is saved in our set. And now for projects using identical templates for the same labels, A&R artists and so on, you simply click and everything is automatically added. From now on, we have a new feature that allows you to render, for example, just the intro or perhaps only a verse or even just the chorus. Let's take a look, for instance, at what we have available here. We will choose version 2. Then we'll proceed to click bounce, and then we'll see how it completely modifies everything to version 2. Yes, version 2 is being signed, and it only bounces the second version of the track. Now we can go and have a listen to it. This is something that only Logic does this way, the sound that we have finally finished. Let's listen if it matches. That's all perfectly correct. We can create any kind of naming convention and then proceed to save it. For instance, we'll simply type in BPM, Gmage, write, and then click save. And now whenever we need to make a selection, we can always easily choose our specific naming convention directly from the available presets. The most interesting part, however, is what happens next right here. What do we have here? You can connect your Telegram account, connect your test email address, and you'll start receiving notifications directly on Telegram. This means you're free to go grab a coffee, head to the gym for a workout, have a meal, and a notification will simply pop up for you in Telegram. You can set the rendering, for example, for 9 o'clock in the evening. You're finished with your work and you don't want your computer to be busy during your working hours. You simply set the render for 9 in the evening, then you click schedule, and that's all there is to it. And then in about 7 minutes, for example, yeah, it's 6 p.m. from me right now, you can just, the computer itself will automatically begin rendering, right? What else do we have available? Easy mode. If you feel there are just too many buttons, you simply click on easy mode and the number of buttons you see will decrease tenfold. All you need to do right is to drag a plugin right here. That's all, and then you just press bounce, select either MP3 or WAV, and everything will just work. And then we'll get back to the latest features. This is activity. Here, all errors that occur will be displayed and you'll be prompted if anything goes wrong. Next, we have history. You can repeat any of your templates that existed, see what you rendered here, when you rendered it, in what format, and so on, what tracks were used, and finally statistics. This is how much time this application will save you. And I think this is the coolest part because there was an hour of total rendering and approximately 4 hours of your life have been saved. Let's just imagine for a moment that you're sitting down to render a project and then you have to sit there patiently waiting for it to finish rendering. And then perhaps you completely forgot about it, got totally absorbed in watching a film. So for instance, you've got it playing, you're watching, and you just completely forgot. Then you suddenly remember, oh, I really need to render that. You can always go back. That's why it saves so much time, considering how many sessions I've rendered, how many files I've processed, and all the statistics it keeps. So this is our application. You can choose from various themes, any that you might find appealing. We currently have 6 of them. It's possible to add many more. That's a very light topic, an application that is incredibly user-friendly, a native app that boasts a very modern, sleek, and professional appearance, and one that will genuinely save you countless hours of your life. And if you're using it and stem rendering almost every single day, or even just once a week, then it will save you 2 to 3 hours every single week. So, until next time, and for more excellent Logic Pro solutions,